Hey guys, what's up? How are you? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be doing just like a fun little video. I wanted to share with you guys products that I used to hate but now I love. So it was me being stubborn saying I'll never use these products, they'll never work for me, I'll never ever put them in my routine, so on and so forth. But also me being stubborn enough to force myself to try to make these products work for me. So if you've been watching me for a while, you'll probably already know all the stuff I'm gonna talk about, but I just wanted to share with you guys like why I started loving these products all of a sudden. I thought it could be fun. So before we get into it, I would love it if you guys would subscribe just so you can stay updated whenever I upload my next video for you. And I would love it if you guys would come follow me on Instagram too, because I'm seriously always on Instagram whenever I'm not here. Let's get into the video now. All right, this is so bad, but I used to hate face sunscreen. I always tell you guys it's so important, but in actuality, in previous years, I had been extremely finicky with face sunscreens and wasn't always consistently wearing them because I always went through trial and error phases with sunscreen. And so I could just never find ones that I consistently felt like performed really well with makeup, because a lot of times they would kind of change the finish of my makeup or they would crumble and pill up under makeup. But recently I found two that I really love. So I really like the Supergoop ones. I just think consistently they're always really great for me, but my two favorites are the one that come in the tub, and then I also really like the oil stick as well. But another favorite is actually from Beauty Counter, and it's their Dew Skin. Now this one is SPF 20, but I really like how this one has a little bit of coverage to it. I use the shade number 3, and it just gives you a nice, you know, dewy tinted base. But for something with a little bit more sun protection, the Supergoop one is really great. This one is SPF 40, and you can use it as a moisturizer on its own, or you can actually use it for, you know, protecting your face. And obviously, if you're going to the beach or something, you'll want to use an adequate amount and really load yourself up. It doesn't crumble or cause the makeup to oxidize weird or anything like that. So I usually do one light layer first, and then once I've gotten that one smoothed in, I go in with my second layer, because you want to make sure that you're putting on enough sunscreen. But I find that doing 2 layers is the way to get the right amount on versus putting it all on at once, because then you really give your skin a few moments to soak up that first layer, and then that way my face doesn't feel absolutely flooded with sunscreen. I used to hate mattifying primers. Now, this one is one specifically that I used to really not like. It's the Bobbi Brown Instant Confidence in a stick. Anything that came in stick form that was mattifying, I really just hated, because I felt like it emphasized texture on my skin. I felt like it made my skin feel like it was hidden behind a mask. It felt very heavy, very goopy, and I just wasn't a fan of it. But I found that I really do like these mattifying primers if I use them on targeted areas of the face. Because it is summertime, I do tend to get a little bit more oily in my T-zone, so what I like to do with mattifying primers is apply them to my T-zone, just like so. But one of the biggest things with these mattifying primers is you do have to take a little bit of extra time and really push them in. Like, you can't just let them lay on top of your skin, which is what I was always doing, and just kind of smoothing them everywhere, all over my entire face. And then of course I'm not gonna like that finish. But if you apply them where you're tending to get more oily like this, you can really help prevent makeup from breaking down. So even like, let's say right here, because maybe in the center of your cheeks you tend to get a little bit more oily, you can just apply it right there and then really push it in so that it's not just laying there. I don't think you need it everywhere. I think they definitely work the best, and they're gonna make you like them more if you apply them to the target areas of your face where you get the most oily. This is not gonna surprise you guys, but I have always hated matte foundations in the past. I felt like they emphasized the dryness on my skin. Not only did they emphasize it, but they also made my skin feel really dry. I felt like the coverage was always a little bit too intense, because generally speaking, matte foundations do tend to have a little bit more coverage. And I just felt like overall, when I would wear matte foundations, I just had an overwhelmingly unpleasant experience. But now there are things that I do really like about matte foundation. I like how it's generally longer lasting. The formulations generally speaking, tend to be a lot more budge proof than something that's dewy or satin. I also think that they have great customizable coverage because you do have the ability to sheer them up or blend them out. And I do like how they control oils on your face longer. So something like the NARS Natural Radiant Foundation, even though this is, you know, radiant, it's still set down matte. So I always felt like it didn't look too good on me. So what I've been doing that's really been working well for me this summer, and I like wearing matte foundations because I do like how they last longer and I can sweat and they won't come off. I will mix in a little bit of oil and I will mix in a little bit of liquid illuminator. And I mean, you guys can even see this is quite thick. For coming in a pump, it does not move around. So that was just another thing I was never a fan of about them. I'm gonna use a liquid illuminator, the Sephora Luminizing Drops. Just a little bit in there. And then oil, which is the biggest thing. So I'm gonna use the Pharmacy Honey Grail oil. So you've got this nice concoction on the back of your hand and you're just gonna thoroughly mix up that matte foundation. And already with that oil, just look how much easier this foundation is to work with. I just like to spread it as thin as I can before I go in and blend it. And then I'm gonna use the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush to just blend this foundation in. And hopefully you guys can tell how easy this is blending out. It's, you know, shearing out really nice and it's moving around easily. If I didn't have that oil in here, it would be so much more, you know, thick and dry, and it just wouldn't blend out or shear down half as much. So I think the oil just really makes the biggest difference, and that little bit of luminizer that you pop in there will really just give you a little bit more of a, you know, natural radiance and luminosity that's not going to be too apparent, but it just brings a little bit of life to that matte finish. Now this will dry down still matte. It won't be, you know, as powdery as if we didn't put the oil in, but the oil actually doesn't really affect the way the makeup sets down. It still sets down to a matte finish and it still stays nice and budge proof as well. All right, a lot of you guys are gonna be shocked by this. Tarte Shape Tape. I used to hate this. Tried it again on a whim. I love it now. I think it could be because it's summertime and it's completely budge proof, but I also feel like it might have been reformulated to where it's not quite as drying, because that was my biggest gripe with Tarte Shape Tape. I felt like it was so drying and it just made my under eyes look really dry and really chalky, but lately I've just been really into it. So I use the shade Medium Sand. And I think the biggest thing with Tarte Shape Tape is you wanna make sure that you have a completely moisturized under eye. So go in with a nice eye cream or put a little bit of extra moisturizer down there. And then do not use a lot because it is so full coverage and it does set down matte. So you do wanna be a little bit more careful with how much you use. And the warmth of your fingers will keep that product nice and warm, so you have more time blending. Whereas if you use a sponge or a brush, you know, that's gonna be cold and it just doesn't kind of heat that product back up and give you the ability to push it in quite as well. It's a lot of coverage, like it's definitely full coverage, but it's nothing too intense, or it's nothing that looks super dry on the under eyes. The other thing that I really like about it is if you're trying to hide, like let's say a blemish, or you wanna do a little bit of a liquid highlight, you really, that much, and I'm just gonna watch this. It's so full coverage, so you just need to work with really tiny, tiny dots of product and they will blend out and give you a ton of coverage. I've just been really enjoying it because I can wear it out and I can sweat my face off, and even if maybe my foundation sweats off, my concealer will stay on my face. This one might surprise some of you guys who haven't been watching me for very long, but I really used to hate cream bronzer. I only started using cream bronzer regularly in like 2019, and now I'm like full steam ahead, cream bronzer everything, because I think cream bronzer truly has the ability to look like tanned skin and not look like product. It just, cream bronzer is that bitch. Like it really just looks the most realistic, and you can get the best real looking definition and best real looking tan from cream bronzer. So I've really been loving the Nude Sticks Bondi Bay cream bronzer, but I've actually done an entire video all about cream bronzer, sharing with you guys pretty much my entire collection and the best ways to apply it. But I mean, I was thinking about it the other day and I was like, I used to hate cream bronzer. I used to think it was the absolute worst. and now you can't get me to put it down because it's just a dream. It definitely took me several months, maybe years, to really get the hang of it, but once I did, I've become a firm believer in it. And I also kind of like putting a little bit around my lips just for a little, you know, contour action there. And then I'm just gonna use this Revlon brush to blend it out. And you guys can see on camera, live blending action, the live blending cam, you guys can see how absolutely beautiful this product blends out and how it just looks like skin, doesn't look like makeup. I mean, if I wasn't wearing foundation and just use a little bit of cream bronzer, it just looks like a tan. It does not look like I put anything on. And I just think they're a dream once you get the hang of them, once you really practice applying them and really figure out, you know, do you like a stick? Do you like something that comes in a pot? What kind of cream bronzer you like and the shade that you like, then I think it's all mission go. This is not gonna surprise you guys, but I really would rather just not set my face with powder and let my face melt off in 5 hours and reapply a full face than set my face down with powder. But you know what? Times are changing, and I really do think that powder is a really useful tool when you do want your makeup to last longer. So do I wear it every single day? No. But am I wearing it more regularly? Yes. Because if it's applied in really thin, light layers, you can get your face to still look really natural and not chalky. So one of the best ones that I found is from Charlotte Tilbury. Now this is a pressed powder. It's her Airbrush Flawless Finish powder. So when I'm setting my under eyes, I wanna use something that's really tiny and I can actually push under there rather than something that's gonna be, you know, a huge mess and I'm gonna have a hard time controlling. So this is a little Wet n Wild brush. I always tap off the excess and I lightly dot it under the eye. Nothing too crazy, but just kind of wanna reinforce that concealer under there. Really anywhere that I just want a little bit of added reinforcement for my makeup, that is where I will powder. So for me, it's not so much about powdering my entire face because then I feel like I lose some of the natural luster from that cream bronzer. And I do want to keep that because that's already, you know, like a nice natural highlight, and then I won't have to go in with as much highlight on top. I used to hate cream eyeshadow. I used to think they were dumb. I used to think they were hard to work with. I used to think, why the heck would you even want a cream eyeshadow when every other color that you could ever possibly want is available in powder form? But now I just regret not utilizing cream eyeshadows in the past because they really are so beautiful and I like the formulation of them now, whereas in the past I just took them for granted and would never use them. But you can create all different types of definition with them, and you can use them to get really full opaque coverage or just a nice light wash of color. I've really been loving these ones from Almay. It's the Velvet Foil Cream Shadows. This one is in the shade Ruby Glam. I just put a little bit on the back of my hand. I'm gonna pick it up on a brush. Cream eyeshadows also last a lot longer, I feel like, because they're kind of like primers with a tint to them. That's sort of the way I think of them, but they're actually so easy to work with, and I love them for just kind of draping over the eye like that. And then I'll take a dirty blending brush, but there's not that much product on it, and just use it to kind of soften out the line. And look, you just get that really nice light haze of color, or you can apply them really full on and like fully opaque, just like that. I've just been missing out on cream eyeshadows, honestly. I don't know why for so long I would just absolutely refuse to purchase or even try them, and now they're like one of my absolute favorite things of all time. I used to never wear cool tones no matter what. I just always thought they made me look dead, but I think it's more so about picking the right cool tone. And I've actually talked about this in a favorites video. It's the Topshop blush in Game Changer. And I know this doesn't look super cool in the pan, but it actually pulls pretty cool on my skin tone because I am so warm. And I would just think a color like this would never look good on me, but I actually think it more so like it just works really well juxtaposition a warm skin tone. So I think it actually it works, and I used to just refuse to wear any type of cool tones whatsoever. So I'll show you guys what this one actually looks like, and I think it's really beautiful even with, you know, that warm tone bronzer. It just kind of puts a little bit of a nice coolness in the center of my face while still also making it look lively, because it is a blush, so it's pink, you know? I've been loving like cool nude tone blushes and cool pink tone blushes a lot recently. But this one has just specifically been my favorite because it tends to go with anything. All right, so yeah, that is all the stuff I wanted to talk about. These are all the products that I seriously thought I would never use again, because I just was like, nope, never gonna use matte foundation, never gonna powder my face, never gonna use cream shadow. Tarte Shape Tape, very specifically, thought I would never use that again, but I'm loving it. It's a great summer concealer, and I am just as surprised as you are. I never thought I would say I love Tarte Shape Tape, but I'm really liking it. I would also love to know products that you guys used to hate and now you love, or products that you used to love but now you hate, because I think that it's so interesting, like how you can love something so intensely and then be like, I will never put that on my face again, or something that you would say you would never put on your face, but now you absolutely love it, like me. It's also just me being stubborn, forcing myself to find a way to use these products so that I can utilize different things in my routine. But I really had so much fun filming this for you guys. This was really fun. I was just realizing that I had a bunch of products that I said I would otherwise never use, and then now I'm using them again. So it was good. It was fun. I would love it if you guys would subscribe to my channel if you didn't earlier, and I would love it if you guys would come follow me on Instagram if you didn't earlier. Other than that, guys, products will be linked and listed in the description box down below, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye, guys.